Okay, beautiful. We are on now. We will start with the prayer. You can still see my screen. Is that right, Mataji?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. We'll start with the prayer. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे मुकुं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम् Wonderful. Thank you, Mamita Mataji, joining. So today we are covering text 30. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam.
Dehi nityam avadhyayam.
De- Sorry, 1 second. Dehi Sarvasya Bharata.
Dehi sarvasya bharata.
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani.
Tasmat sarvani bhutani.
न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Na tvam shochitam arhasi.
Mataji, would you mind reading the translation and purport?
Yeah. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Very nice. He who dwells in the body. Can you suggest what is Krishna referring here? What dwells in the body? Dwells means resides.
Soul.
Wonderful. Thank you. Prabhupada uses very high English. Sometimes it's difficult, but thank you for. So Krishna is telling the soul which lives within the body can never be slain, and we discuss series of verses on that. And that's where Krishna is suggesting Arjuna, you should not grieve for any living being because at the end of the day, everyone has to leave the body, and soul is eternal. Go ahead and read the purport, Mataji.
The Lord now concludes a chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teacher Bhishma and Drona will die in the battle. On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body, not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged, but at the time of war, it is not discouraged when there is actual need for it. That need must be justified in terms of the sanction of the Lord and not capri-
Capriciously, which means
capriciously.
just out of your own will. Thank you, Mataji. This is a beautiful purport This is very important part, and just to segregate that, because modern philosophy says we came into existence by chance, which is not true, and that's being defeated here, where Krishna is talking about soul is eternal, which travels from one body to another body based on the karma. So what is actually a living entity? Living entity is the soul, not the body. We are dead matter. How we look, what we wear, all that is temporary, all that is dead, right? The clothes do not move by themselves, right? When we wear those clothes, when the soul wears those clothes through the body, then you see those clothes moving and all that stuff, right? So that's being clear. And then the second part where Prabhupada mentions that sometimes we should not do violence just by because we don't want to do that, but in the war it is not discouraged, right? So this is very important, like Parshuram. So Parshuram, we all know he is one of the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. He actually killed all the Kshatriyas, 21 generations actually. He did the parikrama, I forgot the exact number, and he killed all the Kshatriyas because they were being ruthless. They were actually being a burden on earth. So he took the charge to actually clear that. And now similarly, Krishna took the charge because he wants to destroy all adharma from this earthly planet. And that's why this Mahabharat war was arranged, where the kings from separate part of the world, they came either in the side of Pandavas or Kauravas, and whole army was annihilated except few who he stayed, right? So that is what is being mentioned here. Any questions or comments before we move to the next verse?
No.
Okay, Mamita Mataji, you are good.
Yes,
Okay,
Prabhu, good.
okay, beautiful. We will read text 31. Swadharmamapi chaveksha
Dharma api chaviksha
na vikampitumarhasi
na vikampitum arhasi
dharmyadiyudashreyonya
dharmadhiyudashreyogyat
kshatriyasya na vidyate.
kshatriyasya na vidyate.
Would you mind reading the translation? I'll read the purport, Mataji. Nitya Mataji, you want to
Yeah,
read?
yeah,
Okay.
I can read. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principle, and so there is no need for hesitation.
One should not hesitate to perform the activities which is suggested by Krishna. Thank you, Srikant Prabhu, for joining. So, this is a very important aspect. One has to, like, for an example, a child has to go to school, an adult has to go to work, father has to earn the livelihood for the family, mother has to work hard for the family. She may have to go to work or she may have to cook, and then everyone is working. So that is, there are two dharmas we discussed, that one is swadharma and second is nitya dharma. Swadharma is the responsibility we have towards our relatives and towards our family, which is doing job, taking care of the family and all that stuff. Swadharma, which is applicable on the bodily platform, which means if this body is gone, whatever good we have done, it's gone. But there is another dharma, Nitya Dharma. Nitya Dharma is the Nitya means eternal, right? So we also have an eternal dharma, which is actually not applicable to the bodily platform. It uses body as a mechanism to perform. For an example, I'm using my body to speak, you are using the body to hear and assimilate this knowledge. So we are using body. Definitely, we are using ears, we are using our eye, we are using our brain. So all this material element, but this is used in Nitya Dharma. Very interesting, right? Like, for an example, I do an IT job. I use the same intelligence, I use the same eyes, I use the same ears for Swadharma. But where does it lead me? Well, I don't, this is all karma. I'm going to suffer and I'm going to get suffer, or I'll get benefit, whatever, based on my karma. So that is only applicable to the body, and body is not eternal, it is temporary, right? And there is Nitya Dharma, which is at the platform of the soul, which is eternal. That's why credit which you get is also eternal. So any spiritual activities, which is spiritual activity is nothing but dharma. So the Nitya Dharma. What is spiritual activity? There is a very important part which I wanted to mention about. What was that? Being religious. Being religious is not same as being spiritual. Can someone explain why is that, or can explain how to interpret this one? A person who is religious is not necessarily spiritual. Thoughts, comments.
Prabhu, religious, that doesn't mean that people are spiritual, because ritual religious is like some um, like anything you follow,
Mm.
but how do I say, like
Yeah, I'm looking for the second part of this. Yes, anything which we follow, but what don't we put in that one? Tell
it
me.
just sometimes it just like we read the book
Mm.
without realizing
Mm.
what is the truth behind it.
Mm.
Sometimes
Yes.
we just do because of people, like we have seen our elders are doing, and
Mm.
before that and everything, but
Yes.
we just don't know what is that actual meaning, because we don't, nobody told us before. It just
Very nice.
blindly, it just blindly follow. But where there is spirituality comes, where you connect your soul to supreme power, or something you feel when you spiritual.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Religious means being ritualist, and spiritual means ritual plus spirit, which when we put the soul in it, like you said, spirit is the soul. When you put the spirit into the ritual, it becomes spiritual. The difference between both of them, religiosity does not take you forward anywhere. Just become your karma, which means that will only become your good deeds, good karma. However, the challenge with good karma is, which we do not know, and I want to, we just, after coming to ISKCON, I understood whether you do good or bad, you will have to take the birth, you will have to die. And if I'm taking a birth and death, and if I'm part of this material world, everything comes with the material world, I will have to go through. I cannot say, oh, the COVID is going on, I will not get the COVID. I will not say, oh, there is a heat wave going on, I will not get the heat. Oh, there is cold war, there is war going on. Oh, I got good karma, I will not get affected by this war. I'm sorry. The law of material world still applies to you. You may get the benefit in a certain way. For an example, people who take birth in grown countries like America, yeah, that is based on the karma, but that does not guarantee, or that does not give you a license that whatever happens in the country, what happens in the world wherever you are born will not affect you. That is being religious. But when you talk about being spiritual, that does not again guarantee you that what would happen in this life, because we are living in material world, but that gives you an opportunity to go back to the eternal world where you do not have to struggle whatever goes with the body. So in this life, we become spiritual so that we create our destiny. For an example, when we were kid, our parents would say, you prepare, you study nicely, you will get a good job, you will get a good salary, you will have a good life. So there is an austerity which is done in the beginning of our life. That's how we are reaping the fruits of it. So similar way, again, it's not exactly similar, but it just at least connect the dots together. We can visualize what's the thought process here. Similar way, when I practice my spiritual life in this lifetime, I'm preparing for my next life. That's how life is a preparation, death is an exam. So there is a difference being religious as well, being ritualist versus spiritualist. So we put our heart into it. We know why am I doing. Example, when you offer the lamb to the Lord, oh, we just offer the lamb if someone asks you. No, we we are made of five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So fire is one of the element our body is made of, and through fire we digest food. People who do not have good agni, agni is a Hindi name of it. cannot digest. So we have the part of Agni, of the fire, and we are offering that fire to God. That is ultimately coming from Him. Same way when we offer the incense, the agarbatti, we are offering earth because that is made of mud. Am I making sense so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'll read the purport. Out of four orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. Shat means hurt. Hurt is an important, again, it is used in negative connotation, but basically, hurt happens to wrong people also. And that's what the dharma of Kshatriya. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. A Kshatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with the tiger with his sword. When the tiger is killed, it will be offered the royal order of cremation, not that to eat it. The system has been followed even to the present day by Kshatriya kings of Jaipur state. The Kshatriyas are specially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. On the name of religion, I'm not talking about the animal sacrifice. So I want to be very clear here. What is being referred here is that destroying adharma. Therefore, Kshatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyas or renunciation. Non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it is never factor or principle. In the religious law book, it is stated, I'll just directly go to the meaning. In the battlefield, a king or Kshatriya, while fighting another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving the heavenly planets after death. Even if I'm killed, I have higher destination awaiting. Why? Not that because, oh, I killed. No, it's because you're following your swadharma. So swadharma also has the benefit, but those benefits are temporary. For an example, you go to heavenly planet, like a credit card, you have some balance which you use, and when it is over, you come back, right? As the Brahmanas also attain the heavenly planet by sacrificing animal and sacrificial fire. And again, they are not using that for eat. That's a different purpose. So one may say, oh, even Brahmanas used to kill animals. Yes, but they would not eat them. They will recite those mantras so that they can get higher birth. Therefore, killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing animals in sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be act of violence because everyone is benefited by religious principles involved. Those are very beautiful this thing. Let me find out if I can um, if I can find it. Yes, I found that. One time there was a sadhu, and then he was offering various blessings on different people. So he met the king. He met a sage's son. He said, "You don't live," which means what? Very interesting. I'll tell you about it when I just finish it off. Then he met a devotee. He gave him a blessing. Either you live or die. He met butcher. He said, "Don't die, don't live." And he met a prince. He said, "Live and don't die." Are you with me so far? Should I repeat? You are with me?
Sorry, Prabhu, I didn't understand.
No problem. So he gave a blessing to the son of the sage, saying that don't live. To the devotee, he gave a blessing, either you live or die. Butcher, don't die, don't live. And to the prince, he says, you live and don't die. Now, let's take one by one. Why he gave different blessings to different people. Let's start with Prince. Prince is enjoying sex life, and that is hellish. And he is indulging into various activity, right? If he is going to, and what is the blessing? Live and don't die, which means if you die, you will suffer. Better you live. Because whatever you are not doing anything spiritual,
Mm.
which means after you die, you are going to go to hellish planet. So better you live long life. At least this lifetime you are peaceful. Am I making sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Second, he did a blessing to brahmachari or a son of a sage. What does it mean? He is following a strict discipline under spiritual master. Better you die. Why? Because you are so trained that you can enter directly into the kingdom of God, which is spiritual world when you die. With me so far?
Yeah.
And then to a devotee, he what did he offer? Jivo va maro. Either you live or die. What is that meaning? Either you live or die is same. Appearance and disappearance is same, because you are practicing devotional service. You are practicing bhakti when you're alive. When you die, you will continue bhakti in spiritual world. So that's why it doesn't matter whether you live or whether you die. That's a devotee. And to a butcher, what did he say to the butcher? He said, don't live, don't die. Very interesting. If you live, you will kill more animal, and if you die, you will suffer out of it, right? Because you did those karma. So don't live, don't die. Are you all with me so far? Did you understand the point here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the difference between prince and butcher? Just making sure you all understood. What is the blessing he gave to prince?
Prince, they give just don't die,
Don't die.
Why he shouldn't die?
because he's enjoying the last life. So
Hmm.
that's why at least he's not killing anyone. He's not harming anyone. So because if he's still alive, no one get will hurt. But if the butcher get to live,
Hmm.
butcher will kill somebody. So that's what they said. You can don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nitama, did you want to add something on that one?
It was based on their karmas, they're getting the blessings.
Not really. The,
Okay.
the 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 blessings of the sage is nothing to do with karma. So based on the karma, all these four people got different body. One is the son of the sun. One is the son of the sage, which is brahmachari. Second is the devotee. Third one is a butcher, because he performed heinous activity in his previous life. That's why he's a butcher. And someone performed great activities. That's why he is a prince. But for prince, he said, live and don't die. Why? Because he is enjoying the pleasures of this world, thinking that wow, they are great. And if you live, at least better you will be able to enjoy that way, because after death, just clarifying Mamita Mataji's point, after that you are going to suffer. Like a butcher. He is also going to suffer, butcher is going to suffer. What is the difference between both of them? The butcher is killing animals. That is also wrong activity. And for the prince, he is not doing any spiritual activity at all. He is enjoying this world, which is almost same. However, the difference is the prince may not get a big punishment in hellish life. He may have to take a birth like a poor person, and then for the butcher, he has to suffer in hellish life, right? He has to
Yeah.
suffer in hellish plan. On this similar plane, I shared one story few weeks back about a person who was offering vegetables in charity. Do you remember that one? Who remembers that one? And in the next life, he became a king. I'm giving you a hint. Do you remember that one?
Oh yes, Prabhu. So he was a vegetable
Hmm.
seller,
Yes.
yeah, right?
And what was the point there? Tell me what happened in his next life.
He become king. He become king.
Yes. And what was he doing as a king? You're
That
close. Nope,
I
no problem.
forgot.
No
But
problem. You are close. So this was a vegetable seller. He would do charity in his previous life. He was doing charity. He would offer vegetables to different people. In the next life, because of his good karma, he got the birth as a king. However, by Krishna's grace, he remembered what he did in his previous life. He said, wow, I distributed or charity did vegetables and I got the birth of king. Let me do that again. I will get a better birth. So he was again doing the donation or distributing the vegetable. And what happened to him in the next life?
I forgot that part.
He again became a vegetable seller.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he thought if he's doing that way, he will get better. He was probably having a grade behind his subconscious.
No, no, close. Okay, no problem. I'll clarify that. He got a higher birth. He has to do higher activity, not the
Right.
same activity as a merchant. So I was distributing vegetable. I'm continuing doing that even as a king. That's not what is expected from me. Similar way, animal is also eating, human is also eating. And one may say, oh, I was an animal in previous life and I'm a human. I'm doing the same activity. Oh, become animal again. Why? Because I'm not utilizing the birth I've been given in a right way. Like you don't buy a Porsche car and do the farming. That will be stupid, right? Similar way, we got a human body and we do the same activity which the birds are doing, the animals are doing. That is like getting a Porsche car and doing farming, right? Or doing a garbage collection in house. A lot of these garbage trucks come every home and they pick up garbage. Will you do that in Porsche car? You will laugh at that person. And that is a similar situation we are in, right? Makes sense.
Yes.
And attain heavenly planets. So do brahmanas who attain them by offering sacrifice. There are two kind of swadharmas. Very wonderful. Coming to that, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, which is our condition, we are not liberated. What is the meaning of liberation?
You attain death and
Sorry, Mataji, come again.
death and get liberated.
What is the meaning of liberation for you?
Liberation is like for your higher, after your death,
Hmm.
your soul should go to like not a brahmanjati, the
Okay, very good.
um like close to golok dham.
Very good. Thank you. That's an important part. So liberation is of various kind, and the liberation which we understand, again coming back to Krishna consciousness, the liberation we understand is getting out of cycle of birth and death, which means I will have eternal body. But where do I go? That depends on what kind of process I'm following. Whether I'm following karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, or bhakti yoga. Based on that, the destination differ. That's why I hate that statement when people say sab raste ek bhagwan ki taraf jate hain." No, based on the practice you perform, you that's how the destination is awarded. You are with me so far, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That is the liberation part. So what is being mentioned is, as long as one is not liberated, and of course we are not liberated, because I know we earth, and based on the activities which we do, that will decide. But as of now, I'm not liberated. None of us are liberated. One has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principle in order to achieve liberation. So there are a lot of, like in this case which is mentioned about, even if you perform karma yoga, which is specifically following based on your based on your duty, based on your religious principle, which is whether I'm brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, and shudra. In today's world, everyone is shudra because we work for others, right? We do not have a kingly duty. Definitely we are not brahmana. And then vaishya are the merchants and shudras are the ones who work for other people, right? So we are in that zone. But even if one performs his duty properly, he can achieve liberation. And when one is liberated, one's swadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not the material body concept. And that's how it's a gradual process. So what happens is, if one performs the karma yoga properly, then he gets the liberated stage, and then he performs devotional service and he goes to higher stage. But by Prabhupada's grace, who actually wrote this Bhagavad Gita, we are directly practicing a spiritual process. We are not going through karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. We are directly practicing bhakti yoga, which is what Mami the Mataji is mentioning, that we go back to spiritual world. We don't have to go to higher planet again, start. In the bodily conception life, there are specific duties for Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And such duties are unavoidable. Like I can't say, oh, I will not go to work. If soul is eternal, why do I have to go to work? Well, that's not what we are saying here. So dharma is ordained by the Lord, and this is will be clarified on the fourth chapter. We will elaborately discuss on that. On the bodily plane, so dharma is called varnashram dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Remember that it's not a destination; it's a stepping stone. You are still on staircase. Human civilization begins from the stage of varnashram dharma, or specific duties in terms of specific modes of nature of the body. The same knife is given to a woman, she can cut nice vegetables. If same knife is given to a thief, he will use that to kill people. The item is same, but the way of using that thing is different. Why? Both are human. What's the difference is they are in different modes of nature. There are three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So, based on a person who is more inclined about any of these modes, will utilize that time. For an example, a person who is in mode of goodness, he would wake up early and utilize that time to actually perform spiritual activities. A person who is in mode of passion will utilize that time to read newspaper or read mundane news, doing various activities which are on the bodily platform. A person who is in mode of ignorance will actually say, why to wake up early in the morning? I'll wake up late. All these three are human, but based on which mode they are connected to, they perform different way the same activities. One may hear Bhagavad Gita and think like work is worship. One person may hear Bhagavad Gita say, I want to get out of the cycle of birth and death. And a person who hear Bhagavad Gita, well, it's a time pass, just forget it. I don't want to read. Same Bhagavad Gita is spoken to three people, but why their actions or response is different based on which mode of which mode of nature they are in. And discharging one specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authorities serves to elevate one to higher statuses of life. Did I cover everything? Any questions or comments? Okay, no questions. Go ahead.
Prabhu, the I sometimes when we hear all this, lately there is a plane crash,
Mm,
and there is some disaster happening
mm,
and all.
mm.
So my thought was like, i- is it not based on karma, or is it based on karma? That
Everything in the material world runs by karma. Everything. Except sometime devotees' life is run by Krishna. For an example, Pandavas, they were suffering not because of karma, but again, they are very rare souls, are very great souls. With sadhu, sometimes apparently they seem like they are suffering, or their material body is completely dilapidated, they are struggling of material existence, but that's not based on karma. That's based on how the material world is designed. Did I answer your question correctly, Mataji? You want to elaborate more on that?
um, still didn't clear.
Go ahead, elaborate more on the question.
My question was like, if the let's say, we don't know those people who died and all,
Hmm.
but maybe there is a chances there is a good practice probably they are doing, and they
Yeah,
still died in that way.
yeah, very good. Okay, okay, very nice. Thank you for clarifying that. I have a question for you. Two people go to the swimming pool, both get wet. Would you would you say, oh no, this person did a good karma, he didn't get, why did he get wet? Okay,
No, because the water, it has to, you will get wet no matter what you do.
very good. Thank you. Exactly. This is what I was looking for. Material world is a place where always the birth and death happen. One may die in plane crash, one may die in the hospital, one may die while walking, one may die while sitting, one may die by sleeping. It has nothing to do in terms of what was their karma or what was their life. Everyone has to leave their body one way or the other way. However, what is different between all of them is what are they thinking when they are leaving their body. If one remembers Krishna, one goes to Even if he is dying, ultimately you see that, oh, they also die. So what's the difference? Well, yes, they do die, but they take the birth. They do not take the birth again, the material world. They get the spiritual body. But if the good karmi, whether he did charity, I'm talking about material plane, I did good activities, I didn't hurt anyone, that is still good karma. It is not out of karma. So there are three things, and we only know about two things in material world. One is good karma, and second is bad karma, right? So this karma and vikarma, these are the two specific terms which are referred in Bhagavad Gita. But there is third one. So both good karma or bad karma brings you to this world. You will have to take birth, you will have to die. In between, whatever you enjoy, that is based on your karma.
Mhm.
But there is third one, which is akarma, which is any spiritual activity you do, you only get spiritual credit. Because what is the benefit of spiritual credit? You do not have to take birth again in this material world. You go to spiritual world and enjoy like good karma, but beyond that, because now you got an eternal body. Make sense?
Right.
Material world does not guarantee, we all will die, whether we are spiritual or we are material. Point is that what happens after death is the key here. So one may say, oh, then what after that? Well, after death means I'm getting another birth based on my last thought, based on my activities. So whether that's a spiritual body or material body, that depends on my karma and consciousness. Make sense?
Yes, Prabhu.
Now it is clear?
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
beautiful. Beautiful. Let's read text 32. Any other questions? Sorry. Okay, no. Yadrachaya kopapanam
Yajachaya kopapanam
swargadwaram apavritam
swargadhadwaram upavritam
sukhina kshatriya partha
khina kshatriya partha
labante yudamidrisham.
labante yudhamidrisham.
Mataji, would you like reading translation and purport?
Yeah, yeah. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting's opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Go ahead.
As supreme teacher of the world, Lord Krishna condemns the attitude of Arjuna, who said, I do not find any good in this fighting, will cause perpetual habitation in hell. Such statements by Arjuna were due to ignorance only. He wanted to become non-violent in the discharge of his specific duty. For a Kshatriya to be on the battlefield and to become non-violent is the philosophy of fools. In the Parashara Smriti or religious quotes made by Parashara, the great sage and the father of Vyasadeva, it is stated the Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kinds of difficulties, and for that reason, he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus, with religious principles, he should rule over the world. Considering all aspects, Arjuna had no reason to refrain from fighting. If he should conquer his enemy, he would enjoy the kingdom. And if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to the heavenly planets, whose doors were wide open to him. Fighting would be for his benefit in either case.
Beautiful. I think purport is crystal clear. If he's going to die, he is going to win the kingdom, and if he's even if he dies, he's going to go to heavenly planet. And this is applicable based on Kshatriya dharma. Of course, Arjuna is a devotee; he will not go to heavenly planet. So I just want to clarify that. But we just want this is spoken based on thinking that Arjuna is a Kshatriya. So in that context, it is explained. Right? Any questions or comments in this verse before we move to the next one?
No.
Okay, beautiful. Read text 20, sorry, text 33. Atha chetvam imam dharmyam
Achetam imam dharmyam
sangramam na karishyasi
sangramam na karishyasi
tata swadharmam kirtim cha
तथा
ततः
स्वधर्मां
स्वधर्मं
कीर्तिं च
कीर्तिं च
itva papam avapsyasi.
Hitva
Hitva
papam
papam avapyati.
avakshati.
Thank you, Shrikant Prabhu. Would you mind reading the translation and purport?
Yeah, sure. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
Yeah, pause here. Very beautiful aspect. If Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, is not performing his duty and he is thinking, oh, you know what, I don't want to kill anyone, then he will sin. Right? This is a very important aspect. These four Varna ashram is not there in material world today, but this is there. This is an important part. Unfortunately, there are no varnas today. There are ashrams surely, but there is no varna today. So you don't see kshatriyas very very hardly you see, and brahmanas are rarely to be seen. Not brahmanas by birth, but based on their activity. So based on that, Arjuna is going to incur sin. Right? Please go ahead and read the purport.
Arjuna was a famous fighter and he attained fame by fighting many great demigods, including even Lord Shiva. After fighting and defeating Lord Shiva in the dress of a hunter, Arjuna pleased the Lord and received as a reward a weapon called Pashupatastra. Everyone knew that he was a great warrior. Even Dronacharya gave him benedictions and awarded him the special weapon by which he could kill even his teacher. So he was credited with so many military certificates from many authorities, including his adoptive father Indra, the heavenly king. But if he abandoned the battle, not only would he neglect his specific duty as a Kshatriya, but he would lose all his fame and good name and thus prepare his loyal road to hell. In other words, he would go to hell not by fighting, but by withdrawing from battle.
Very nice. Thank you. Connecting this to previous verse. What was the previous verse saying? If he is going to win, he will rule the kingdom. If he lose, he goes to hell. Now he is not choosing any of that. He wants to run away. And what is the result for that? He is creating his way to royal road to hell. Why Prabhupada is writing royal road? Because this is a person of caliber. You imagine, he pleased Lord Shiva, he defeated Lord Shiva, not like defeating from her perspective. Lord Shiva is a amazing personality, but he was so powerful. You can imagine. And if he's not utilizing this, whatever skills he has in Krishna's service, it's all useless. Similar way, we all have our skills, we all have talents. And why are these talents given to individual? Because that has to be utilized in Krishna's service. One who knows how to cook well, they should cook for Krishna. Like one of the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he know carpentry very well, and Prabhupada asked him to make carved deities. There was one Mataji who was very good in art. She would build beautiful paintings. Prabhupada asked her to build Krishna's painting. There are devotees who knew how to build house as well. They built temple for Krishna. Like for an example, the Rath Yatra festival, I don't know how many of you attended. These raths are not bought. These are made by devotees. Some of these are IT guys. Some of them are mechanical guys or electrical guys in terms of they work for GM, they work for Ford. They built that chariot. Can you imagine? They built it from scratch. And not only that, after every Rath Yatra festival, we had four so far, they will dismantle that and then they build again one day before the Rath Yatra day. So there is another last Rath Yatras which are coming. One is going to happen in Lansing and second is the big Noai one which is through Detroit Temple. So imagine, this is using talent given by Krishna in Krishna's service. You know how to play beautiful instruments, use it for Krishna's service. And that is how every aspect of our life has to be utilized in Krishna's service. If we have more money, give it to Krishna, help in building temple, help in propagating Krishna consciousness. And that is how every skill has to be utilized. Any questions or comments before we move to the next verse? Okay, let's read the last verse today, text 34. Akirtim chapi bhutani
Nitim chapi
Akirtim chapi
bhutani
bhutani
कथयिष्यति ते व्ययम्
कथयिष्यन्ति ते
कथयिष्यन्ति ते
व्ययम्
व्ययम्
संभवातस्य शाकृति
सम्भवातस्य
सम्भवाति च चाकृति
कृते
मरणात् आतिरिच्यते.
मरणादतिरिच्यते.
मरणादिरिच्यते.
Beautiful. Can you go ahead again, Srikant Prabhu, read the translation and purport?
People will always speak of your infamy, and not for a
And for
respectable person.
and for a respectable person, not is not there.
Okay, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
Yeah, Arjuna, you saw in the previous verse, this guy has a very high, this person has a very high caliber. He's an extraordinary person. And for that person, it's infamy, right? People will talk about Arjuna ran away. And for such people, dishonor is worse than that. And that's an important aspect, actually, which one has to understand. Like one time, what happens is Yudhishthir Maharaj. Actually, what had happened is Karna kind of injured Yudhishthir Maharaj to a great extent. And then the Sarathi or the chariot driver immediately took Yudhishthir Maharaj from the Yuddha Bhumi. And when Arjuna saw that, he immediately started, he came where Yudhishthir Maharaj was. And Yudhishthir Maharaj was, Yudhishthir Maharaj was asking, so did you kill Karna? He said, no. He said, why did you come here then? What is the use of you holding this bow and arrow if you can't actually defeat the opposite army? And Arjuna actually took a vow before this all this happened. If anybody tells me that I do not know how to use the bow, I will kill that person right away. Hare Krishna. So he took a vow. And now Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying, what is the use of your vow if you can't do that? He gives him left and right. And now, because Arjuna took a vow, so what will he do? He has to kill Yudhishthira Maharaj based on his vow, but that's his elder brother. And he says, Krishna pitches in at that time. Krishna says, okay, do one thing. For a Kshatriya, insulting is worse than death. Why don't you give, why don't you use few, like you just tell Yudhishthira Maharaj, what did you do? You're nonsense, like whatever it is. You didn't use nonsense, but I'm just putting an example. You just infame that person, which is as good as basically defeat. And that's how it happened actually. And that's how he got out, because that is as good as killing that person. You're with me so far, you got the story right?
Mhm.
Okay, beautiful. Please go ahead and read the purport.
Both as a friend and philosopher to Arjuna, Lord Krishna now gives his final judgment regarding Arjuna's refusal to fight. The Lord says, Arjuna, if you leave the battlefield before the battle even begins, people will call you a coward. And if you think that people may call you bad names, but that you will save your life by fleeing the battlefield, then my advice is that you would do better to die in the battle. For a respectable man like you, ill fame is worse than death. So you should not flee or fear of your life, better to die in the battle. That will save you from the ill fame of misusing my friendship and from losing your prestige in society. So the final judgment of the Lord was for Arjuna to die in the battle and not withdraw.
Amazing, thank you. I think this is crystal clear. Any questions or comments?
No,
No.
Okay, beautiful. Can we summarize what did we discuss today, whatever you remember?
like we are here with a purpose, so we are supposed to utilize our best.
Yes, Prabhupada would say best use of bad bargain. So we have a bad bargain now. Utilize that for the best use. Thank you, Mataji. Any other comments?
We should be spiritual as well as religious, but only religious is not gonna do any good.
Yeah. Oh, I will be nice to people. Just be, oh, you know what? I will go to every temple. I will attend Aarti. and then yeah, this is great, this is very nice, I'm being spiritual, I'm sorry, you're not spiritual, you're religious. Or someone say, oh yeah, I'll be spiritual and I will not perform any activity, I will just listen, listen, listen. No, that's not good. We have to get into action, and that's an important aspect. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, thank you for your kind attention. So I'll, before I speak, I'll just want to end